Hello, my name is Paul. A lot of people know me as the Ripples guy because of some little emails I started sending out 20 years ago that focus on the ongoing impact that our smallest actions have. I've had the great pleasure of spending time on hundreds of college campuses over the last 20 years, coming in to fire up students, to fire up staff, to do all kinds of fun things. And one of the things I do often when I'm on a college campus is to ask students, current students and former students, what advice do you wish you would have gotten when you started college? Or what advice did you get that you wish you would have actually followed? And over the years, I've amassed a whole bunch of incredible advice, and I turned that into a presentation that I give on lots of campuses every fall for orientation. Well, this year, in 2020, the year of COVIDia, I don't get to travel to very many colleges, and actually right now it's 0 colleges that I get to visit, and I'll be firing some online. But I wanted to make this quick video for all the campuses that I've ever visited so that they can perhaps share with students some of the advice that I've given to incoming students. This is going to be the weirdest start of college for most campuses ever. And I am sorry to incoming students that this start is going to be not what you hoped for, not what you wished for, not what you deserved, just like how you wrapped up your high school experience was not what you hoped for, not what you wished for, not what you deserve to have. And even though this is really yucky and unfortunate, this is going to be an opportunity for you to learn a lot and grow a lot. And even though this will impact you in some negative ways for now and maybe in the short term, ultimately, COVID has the power to teach us and help us grow strong as human beings, as leaders, as students, as employees, as everything. So, with that said, I want to teach you something really quick. This is going to look kind of corny, but trust me, this has helped thousands of college students have a better college experience. And it looks like this. Ask, connect, sample, ripple, focus, enjoy. I'm going to teach this to you really quick. Just trust me, it's corny, but worth it. Shrug and tilt. So everyone do this. Shrug and tilt, and then a clap. So you're a third of the way through. And then it's called crumbs off the table, where you make a table with one hand and you go and then you go back and forth like that. And then the next one is called dolphins in the ocean. You take 2 fists, put them close to your chest, and then you just do this little action. So let's do those last 2 again. Crumbs off the table. And then dolphins in the ocean. And then focus point, or temple point, jazz hands. Do those last 2 again. Temple point, jazz hands. So if you put it all together, it's ask, connect, sample, ripple, focus, enjoy. Let me teach those 6 things to you again, and then I'm going to share at the end 3 questions that have helped a lot of people get through change and challenge in your life. And I think it applies to starting college. I think it also applies to handling COVID. But let's start with these 6 questions. These are things that I teach college students every year. The first one is about asking questions and asking for help. Most new students are afraid to ask questions. They're afraid they're already supposed to know the answer. They're afraid they're going to ask the wrong person, or they're afraid of looking like a stupid first year. And what I'd like to tell the students is don't worry about that, because you kind of are a stupid first year if you define it as uninformed. You don't know everything about college. You're just getting there. Asking questions and asking for help is one of the fastest ways to become less uninformed. And so whenever possible, ask RAs, ask orientation leaders, ask staff and faculty, ask former students. Now, the one thing I do want to tell you to caution is against leaning too much and asking your parents. You have had this opportunity over the last couple decades of your life for your parents to be there for you, and when you have a problem, you ask them and they help out. One of the great outcomes of college, if you do college right, is you develop communication skills, critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. These are skills your parents hopefully have already picked up. Every time you turn to your parents to ask a question or ask for help, you're actually short-circuiting your capacity to learn critical thinking skills, communication skills, and problem solving skills that you're going to need in college and life. So ask questions of people on campus. So that's the ask. Then this piecing is about connecting with people, connecting with the campus. And I'm sure if you're like most incoming students, it is true that a big part of what you're excited about is all these cool people you're going to meet. I want you to know that advice from lots and lots of previous students that have come before you. One is the tendency to the first couple people you meet to really glob onto them and have them be your best friend. And if you're already on campus when you're watching this video, you may have already noticed other people doing it. You may have noticed it yourself. And that's awesome if you found a quick friend and somebody that you're walking around and going everywhere with. But just know that these first couple weeks and in the first couple months of being on campus, that's the time when you can hopefully meet lots and lots of people. So connect with lots of people. The other tendency that we tend to have is we connect with the people who are like us and people who are like the friends that we had before we got to college. And here's what I want to tell you. When you want to feel comfortable in this world, it is important that you surround yourself with people who are like you, with people who look at the world the way you do, with people who have different, similar backgrounds to you when you want to feel comfortable. When you want to learn, when you want to grow, when you want to get something out of college and orientation and life, it's really important that you step out of your comfort zone and surround yourself with people who are different than you, with people who look at the world differently than you, with people who've had different experiences than you. And by definition, that is uncomfortable. This is also true not just about connecting with people, but also sampling the buffet of activities that are available to you. And this is supposed to represent going to a buffet and getting lots of different food to trample. And if you're a buffet lover like me, one of the things buffets, are they ever going to come back after COVID? I hope so. Sorry, tangent. But the reality is, when most Americans go to a buffet, they say they want tons and tons of options. And if you give them the option between 50 fresh ingredients to choose from or 100 fresh ingredients, they overwhelmingly say 100. If you give them a choice between 100 fresh ingredients and 200 fresh ingredients, they say, oh, we want 200. But the average American, when they go to a buffet, they usually eat the same 6 or 7 items that they always eat. And that's because we tend to default to comfort in our activities and in the foods we eat and the people we hang out with and just about everything we do. And so the activities you were involved with in high school, the groups you were belonged to, the cliques, the kinds of people you hung out with, that's an awesome starting point. And you want to expand and you want to sample the buffet and you want to try as often as possible to sample activities that are outside your comfort zone. And please hear me when I say this. Discomfort is required for growth. You cannot remain comfortable and grow into the best possible version of who you are. So we're halfway. We've got asking lots of questions. We've got connecting with a lot of people. We've got sampling the buffet, trying lots of new activities whenever possible. The next one is about creating ripples. The little things you do have an ongoing impact. I mentioned to you that I send out this email called Ripples. 20 years ago, I started sending out 2 little inspirational quotes and something to think about for the week. And for free, no marketing. And 20 years later, over 1,000 Mondays later, I still send out this email every Monday. Now it goes out to 30,000 people. And it blows my mind because the idea is to focus on the ongoing impact of our smallest actions. And I really never had an idea that Ripples I would become known as the Ripples guy and it would become this thing. But it is true as a metaphor that the little things we do have an ongoing impact, and sometimes they measure up to the biggest impact we have. If you want good grades in college, of course you know that you have to show up for the final, you have to study for midterms. The biggest impact on academic success in college is the daily decisions you make about whether to go to class and about how many minutes you study. For your physical health and taking care of your body, of course you know when you're sick, you need to go see a nurse practitioner, you need to go to the campus health center, you need to call a nurse hotline, you need to talk to somebody to take care of yourself. But the biggest impact on a college student's health is the daily decisions they make about moving, how much they move, what kind of food and drink they consume, how much they sleep. So the little things have an ongoing impact. Your relationships, I bet if I asked you to think about friends that have been there for you for the big stuff in your life, I'm hoping you can think of a couple people. Most of the time, those relationships are built not on big things that happen, but on lots of little daily deposits that you make in your relationships. So think about the little things you do because they matter. We got two more quick pieces of advice. Focusing. When you're in class, you need to be there. When you are with your friends, you need to be with them. When you are studying as much as possible, you need to be able to focus. And especially in the time of COVIDia, it has become increasingly hard for us to focus because there's a lot going on. But even before COVID came along, most college students, it's one of the biggest challenges they were facing is their ability to focus on one thing at a time. And it's because of these wonderful phones that we carry around with us and we have access to lots of information and distraction, it becomes harder and harder for us to focus. And there's two quick things that I want to share with you. One is something I do on almost every college campus I visit is before I start the presentation, I've gone to the financial aid website, I've looked up how much it costs, tuition, room and board, books and fees for a year. And I put that into a spreadsheet where I divide that number by 2 semesters, except for places that have quarters, and then I divide it by 3. 2 semesters, and then I divide it by 15 weeks, the typical number of weeks in an academic semester, and then divided by 15 credits, the typical load. And that, what ends up happening is you get a number that is the actual cost of what you're spending on college to attend a specific lecture for 1 hour in a class. And very often in the last couple years, that number has been between $50 or $60 on the low end to over $100 for some of the campuses that I come and visit. And every single lecture you're investing that kind of money, and sometimes the state is pitching in some money, sometimes your parents are pitching in money, but it's all money that people are expecting, are investing in your education. And so that number, if you actually take the time to look up that number, can help you make sure that you are focusing and getting your butt to class and making sure that you're trying very hard to make that worth the money that you're spending. The second thing is a little technique I use to help center myself. I did it right before I started the video. I take 3 deep breaths, and I think here on the inhale and now on the exhale. It makes a huge difference. And as I started teaching here now, here now, here now to students in orientations, a lot of them told me they use that as a mantra right before class starts, right before they sit down to study, right before key moments, right before hanging out with friends sometimes is, here now, can I be present for this experience? And the last thing very quickly is about enjoying today. If you think high school went fast, I promise you college goes faster, and over and over and over again. When I ask students, what advice do you wish you would have gotten? What advice did you get that you wished you would have listened to? It was most people say somebody told them to really enjoy it because it goes fast, but most of the time they didn't really notice that until it was almost over or all over. So, quick review, ask questions, ask for help, connect, sample the buffet, create ripples, focus on the little things, focus, and enjoy today. The last thing I want to do, and keep this under 15 minutes, is to share with you 3 questions that have helped me in times of challenge and change. And the first question is, what is it time to let go of? And then it's, what will be important to hold on to? And then finally, what might be useful to look forward to? Letting go is about saying goodbye to the way things were. High school is over. The last chapter in your life is over. And there's some grieving, there's some sadness that is going on. The next thing you do, once you let go of some of the stuff and the way things were, you also want to take with you some of the lessons, some of the ideas, some of the memories that will help you succeed in college. And then finally, what might be useful to look forward to on the other side of the difficulty, the challenges that lay ahead? What is it that you see as the future? I do want to keep this short, so I will end there. Thank you so much for watching this video. Good luck with your experiences in college and in life.